What's good? You rocking with your boy TheCzarr, all rights reserved. Welcome to the Grab a Drink movement. Once again, we're about to get into it. We're going to alternate the series. As I'm working up my way on Grab a Drink movement, I'm still going to do TheCzarr and formations for people to understand and keep up with the case. Shout out CommenterNation. Shout out Commenter Universe. Shout out to the whole team. Everybody that gave subjects and topics to go. It's that normal hater. You already know how that goes. They're player hating, but it's good. You already know how I rock and you know who I am. So we're into the subject. I'm actually going to do something that was mentioned by a commenter. Their name will be tagged on the video. They want to know about the killing in Chicago. Now, I've spoken about this a while ago. As you see, one of my major videos that is on the homepage, me talking about a specific subject there, as I backed off the subject because, again, I didn't want to get into detail because I didn't perceive truth in what was being said by the friends, but I didn't have anything to deny it. You could go over to Chaos Sector, who's showing video-wise how editing and lies have been found within their story. That is his channel name. You can get details on exactly how that works if you need to. Now, dealing with Chicago, and this is very important for Chicagoans or whatever they call themselves to understand what's going on. Now, you are in a cycle of revenge. Now, what's the problem with the cycle of revenge and why killing is going to be hard to stop is because guys who kill are killing for the revenge of someone who has been killed. You see, it's hard to let up on a situation when someone else is the direct fault of a death. Yes, when someone rolled up and killed someone because of some type of situation, whether it's money-based, whether it's clout-based, but that's the problem with Chicago. A lot is clout-based. That is why the cycle of revenge is hard, because someone brags and has bragging rights on taking the life of someone. Now, think of this. If there was a situation where clout was given off of support, off of how someone's group was built a certain way, off of how respect was built a certain way, it wouldn't be that case. There would be a totally different demeanor taken. Think about this. That if I built in my neighborhood a system where I help someone and I teach others to help someone, support someone, to help someone grow, do you see how that would be building a different cycle of assistance? But the cycle of revenge over wealth and the cycle of revenge over pride has caused a deep rift between many of the dwellers of Chicago, and this only deepens because what happens is that police don't step up again to stand in the middle of this. They come when everything's done. And as we've seen this on WorldStar with videos of a policeman literally around a shooting, recording the sounds of the shooting, not moving. That shows. That is why I had understanding to even look into the fact that at that time, the Zach TV incident, and analyze how he operated within the police station and how it was portrayed through what the police were saying in the station. That is how it was easy for me to get that detail and expose that. But here's something that's even deeper. I know you guys don't want that for your children. You don't want your children in a cycle of revenge where they could possibly get killed. So how can you make a change if you don't start the change yourself? You have to start with yourself. It's all your mentality, and then you'll lead to a cycle that is different from what is currently happening to inspire different things to occur. That starts with you. If everybody starts with themselves, that will grow. Now, I'm not saying don't inquire self-defense for yourself, but I'm telling you to behave carefully. Because here's the thing, and I would have thought you guys would look at it objectively. We've caught, or not we, not as in I, but we've seen, as in you and I have seen them condemn officers who were acting under a law that were arresting individuals, taking them to a warehouse for torture means. This was authority that were caught doing this. So if they're able to do that, and we're not seeing what type of reprimand they get, I mean, they could have been fired, anything could have happened. I'm not saying they didn't get reprimand, but we didn't see it. Why would you ever act in a certain way to not see what actually occurs to these people? Why would we not act off of seeing this happen and say we need to stop? That would be the smart thing, right? You think you guys would say, oh, they're doing this. We need to stop and focus on what the actual problem is. And recently we see an officer run up and aggressively grab a man and then shot him because she said she saw a gun. No, but it's how you walked up and engaged. You saw nothing, but you engaged, claiming something happened that we didn't see on camera, yet you get let off the hook because you claim with a story. Because ultimately what they did was they associated the lifestyle of the Chicago people to that very person and said, oh, he was in this lifestyle, he had a gun, when he had a license for it in actuality. Do you see that? Do you see how it works? So the whole mentality and lifestyle has caused the death of others who were justifiably citizens and were being claimed to have done things. But now we see that the killing progresses. But understand this, let me tell you guys, I don't believe it's as aggressive as the news portrays it. Because the news doesn't even speak on dirty politics. They don't speak on corrupt officers, because that would be against the nature of what's actually going on and show another side that is not being focused on. And if a lot of other people would focus on that type of side, they wouldn't focus on each other as much. But that's another subject. But the killing in Chicago only stops when the cycle of revenge is broken. This has been a phenom, or let's say a phenom of an incident that has not been figured out for decades, for centuries, especially amongst African Americans in this current culture. In this current culture, the one I'm talking about is hip hop. I don't know if we could call it a culture or you want to just say it's a genre, but this has influenced the mentality of many. It has influenced the actions of many. We've seen it over and over, how it leads blacks to war against each other, just off of simple ideologies that don't really make sense to go to war with each other. You can say off of wealth or something, what they perceive as wealth, because we know wealth is not money, because money can be gained through good credit, through other options, through opportunities, through residual income, through just sheer hard work, sponsorships. I don't know what he's playing. He's riding playing slow music, but his window's up. I'm not even trying. You know what I mean? He could keep that to himself for the day. But ultimately, it's through the mentalities that have been justified within each neighborhood that instead of teamwork, they've seen themselves as pride or clout chasing, as they call it, in order to avenge a life lost earlier and presumed to be lost by people who may be bragging about it. This is a very common incident that leads to further violence. We just seen it on the news where a shooting happened at a funeral. That's what we continue to see over and over and over. And the only way that's going to be broken is if everybody, and this is why it's unlikely, everybody stops where they are, changes their mentality, and say, we're not going to do this. We're going to focus on what matters. We're going to work hard and look for entrepreneurial opportunities to gain for our families so they don't go into the same lifestyle that we are or that we've been in. Because ultimately the problem is change is the only thing to change what is going on. And it's hard to change when you're caught up in the money, the lifestyle, the opportunities you get living that life, the different choices that are made, the revenge that needs to happen in their mind that has to happen, the type of claiming, just the overall pride and just the flashiness that comes with making claims or standing for some opportunity that you may not find justified, that you and I may not find credible. But when you're in that lifestyle and you're out there doing it, you don't think of these things because it's in the middle of action. It's in the middle of happening. These are very important things that need to be changed. And that's the problem. It's the lack of growth in the black man's mind that is destroying each other. It's the lack of growing. And that is why they lose. And that's just a fact. It's just a fact about it. As a black man, I'm telling you, that's a fact. In order for me to get myself out of a cycle, I had to think and act differently, make different choices, see life differently. And even then you get hate from people that are unlike you. But that's the sickness of the world around us. And if people would focus on fighting the sickness instead of looking for reasons to blame on the symptoms, you would really cure what is actually happening. That is my ideology behind the change. That everyone who wants to look for where the symptoms of the sickness came from instead of fighting the sickness. The change starts with your mind. That's the ultimate reasoning. There's no other reasoning beyond that. And I can tell you all that because I, as a black man, have done that. I have thought differently. I've come against many struggles, but I can tell you, when I changed my mind and lifted it, my most struggles have come against prejudiced officers, prejudiced people. People whose minds just were wrapped around the fact that you were trying to make a change in what you were and not who you were. And they acted on that. And that will be their downfall. Trust me. That's why I fight from the position I'm at, because I understand that very well. I have pushed my mind to comprehend that very well. I've taken a stand to think and behave this way very well. So now I've made stronger connections, bigger networks, stronger infiltrations of information that can, let's say, powerfully fight these people that have inflicted this upon me. And it's not that I'm even aiming at a color. I'm aiming at bad character. You got bad character. So that makes it easier for me to deal with you, because I have no remorse, because I know who you are on the backside. I know what you've done. I know who you've done it to. That's why I can win. You see, it's all from a position of understanding that even if my sins are out here, you're trying to hide yours. So once I validate what yours are, as I have, it's easier to defeat and crush an enemy. What's the easiest way to crush an enemy? It's to fight them without fighting. And that's easy when you have information about who they truly are, because you know where to attack, how to attack, and when you know why you're doing it, it makes it an even stronger motive. Let's be real. Think about this. In third world countries, there are many people losing their life because of the situation, because of slave trade and different things that aren't spoken about, because of different radical groups that are enacting within them. But if you think of the original world of how it started in Africa, not now, because we know diamond trade and just money and wealth altogether has changed the landscape of interaction and people believing in what mattered to become a stronger unit together. That's how we started. Look at what you're fighting over. Look at what you're fighting for, and think to yourself, if we lost world currency tomorrow, that green dollar that you did all that dirt for would be worth nothing overnight. Do you comprehend that? And if you guys don't know what that means, I will go into detail if someone asks me in the comments. But if we lose world currency, if you have I don't care if you have 100 racks in your pocket, 100 racks. Think about having 100 racks in your pocket right now. If we lose world currency, you will have $0 in your pocket, because your money would transfer to nothing in any other country that would become world currency. And that's the problem with people. They don't see the bigger picture. And that's the problem with Chicago. They're not seeing the bigger picture of this cycle of revenge, that you're killing off potential assistants and affiliates that will really help you win the battle later on in life when everything falls against the real enemy. You see? And that's why they don't care that you kill each other. That's why they don't care what you do, because you're killing off potential enemies of the real enemy before the enemy has arisen. Do you get that? I can't explain it any clearer. You guys are literally destroying your forces before the real war has begun, worrying about winning a battle against another street over invisible wealth. Think about that. Invisible wealth. Because overnight it could change like that. It's invisible wealth. Does that make sense? It's not really there. There's no real value. It's value for the moment, but that's over you chancing the cycle of revenge for that momentary value to lose out on your future gains. Understand what I'm telling you here. I'm really dropping gems. I'm trying my best to drop gems. And you don't judge the person speaking, judge the message. If you think it's otherwise, hop down in the comments below and tell me. Say, nah, you're wrong, this. Because I've studied this for a long time, and I realize They don't just want Chicago and Chicago. They want Chicago everywhere. They want to make everywhere Chicago. Because if everywhere Chicago, that will stop critical thinkers from arising to see the true problem of our society when it comes to black on black crime. Do you get this? How else can I spit this to you? And I don't care if this gets 100,000 views or a few views. Show every Chicago person this video because they need to understand this. It's deeper than that. This is a strategy. This is a war of the mind. In America, it's not a war against each other. It's a war of the mind. Can you break your mind free from the cycle of revenge? Or are you going to repeat it over and over and take out your future comrades when the real war continues? Because it's been being fought a certain way. When it continues. Do you get that? You know how I rock. Shout to the commenter that brought this up. All rights reserved.